Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Guys That Magic. It's me, it's Steven, and I'm joined by Hunter.
What's up?
I am so excited for this, Hunter. You have no idea. Guys, today we are going to be doing Hunter's $300 upgrade for the Veloci-Ramp-Tor Precon for the Lost Caverns of Ixalan Commander decks. I love dinosaurs. I got the Pyre deck, but I will say I was very excited for this, and I love the 100. I'm excited to see what you do with the 300.
Yeah, man, I am a big dinosaur fan. I said it since they announced that we were going back to Ixalan at the beginning of the year that I wanted the Precon of the dinosaur deck if they were doing one. And here we are, like end of the year. We're here.
We are here. Well, Hunter, before we continue on with the video, let's go ahead and remind everybody at home what your face commander does.
So I went with the face commander. We're sticking with the face commander. It's Pantlaza, Sun Favored. It's two, a red, a green, and a white for a 4/4 legendary creature dinosaur. It says whenever Pantlaza, Sun Favored, or another dinosaur enters the battlefield under your control, you may discover X, where X is that creature's toughness. Do this only once each turn. So, in case you forgot, Discover is a new mechanic from Lost Caverns of Ixalan. It's basically a new take on Cascade, meaning whatever you discover, you exile the top cards of your library until you exile a mana value of that toughness or less. And you may play that card, or in this case, because it's newer than Cascade, you can put it in your hand, which is even better.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, hot take, do you think Discover is better than Cascade?
I certainly do. I am here for it. Cascade, I felt like was very limiting in terms of you had to cast the spell that you flipped over right then and there. Discover allows you to put that in your hand if you didn't want to do that. So I do think it's better.
All right, well, let's go ahead and discover the things we've done to this deck.
Yeah, so here's all of the additions. First and foremost, we are keeping all of our additions from our $100 upgrade into this. So if you guys haven't seen that, this is a sequel. Go ahead and check the description for the link to the $100 video. Watch that first. Come back over here. But these are the new ones, and I want to just start off by saying, okay, I'm sorry. I listened to the comments. This is why we ask people to comment down below, because sometimes they open our eyes to things. And a lot of people said I should really put Apex Altasaur back in the deck. So I tell you what, it's back in the deck. You don't have to remove it from the Precon. Apex Altasaur, welcome back. Apex Altasaur is the one that has the enrage trigger where it can fight if it wants to. It's a 10/10, so we can just beat people's face when we swing in. Yeah, it's going back in the deck. I understand. It's a great card.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I understood why you got rid of it, but like I kind of said, I think I said this in the last video, this is kind of a fun one to put back in if that is the option you wanted to go for. Plus, the Discover trigger there with the 10 toughness would be pretty good.
Oh, yeah. It's really good.
All right, well, he's back in the deck. But with that being said, let's hear about these new baddies you put in.
Yeah, new baddies. First up, the original, one of my favorites. It's Polyraptor. It's 6 and 2 green for a 5/5 creature dinosaur. It's got Enrage that says whenever it is dealt damage, create a token that's a copy of Polyraptor. So every time Polyraptor is hit, or we can block, or we're swinging in, Polyraptor really doesn't go away because we're just making a copy of it, and it can continue doing that. So it just pings over and over and over. And with 2 cards in the deck already, we have kind of an infinite combo here of just dealing as much damage as possible. That combo is with Marauding Raptor, which says when another creature enters the battlefield under my control, it deals 2 damage to it. So when Polyraptor comes in, it gets hit for 2 damage, which makes a copy of Polyraptor, which gets hit for 2 damage. But if you also have Wrathful Raptors on the field that says whenever a dinosaur you control is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any target that isn't a dinosaur. So unlimited amount of Polyraptors getting hit for 2 damage are also going to do 2 damage to people's faces. That's how you win.
Heard. So all I'm hearing, and the people at home can either agree or disagree with me, leave it in the comments. Should we just kill Hunter first?
That would be not ideal. Please don't do that. We're trying to win. The other dinosaur I'm throwing in here is from the brand new Jurassic World cards. It's actually the OG Tyrannosaurus himself from the original Jurassic Park. This is Ravenous Tyrannosaurus. It's 4, a red and a green for a 6/6 creature dinosaur that's got Devour 3, which means as it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice any number of creatures, and then this creature enters the battlefield with 3 times that many +1/+1 counters on it for each of those creatures. So if we devoured all 3, it'll come in with 9 counters, which is insane. And it says whenever Ravenous Tyrannosaurus attacks, it deals damage equal to its power to up to 1 target creature. excess damage is dealt to that creature's controller instead. So not only are we going to be swinging in and dealing damage to something that could potentially block, and if it's got those counters on it, then we can just immediately kill that creature before it blocks. We're dealing the excess damage and then more damage on top of it. It's fantastic. And I'm just really sad that the original dinosaur from Jurassic Park is not legendary.
Yeah, love these two additions here, Hunter. Ravenous Tyrannosaurus is a very aggressive card. Polyraptor definitely going to be an issue and have to deal with it immediately. This is terrifying already. Any other creatures?
That's going to be it for the creatures.
All right, well let's go ahead and slide into some artifacts.
Yeah, so these artifacts, we're a dinosaur deck. We need a lot of mana to cast these dinosaurs. So these two next artifacts are going to help that. First up, the Great Henge. 7 and 2 green for a legendary artifact where it says this spell costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. You can tap it to add 2 green and you gain 2 life. And whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on it and draw a card. Did you want mana? You got it. Did you want life? You got it. Did you want a counter? You got it. Did you want card draw? You got it. The Great Henge.
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think you had to sell that card to anyone. I think it speaks for itself.
Yeah, it's so good. I love it.
I think the best thing about this card in your deck is it'll never cost 9 mana.
Oh, no, not at all. Yeah, this is going to be so easy to cast for potentially just 2. The other artifact is Urza's Incubator. It's 3 generic mana. Burn artifact says when it enters, choose a creature type. We're going to say dinosaurs. Creatures with chosen type cost 2 less to cast. Simple to the point. Urza's Incubator is fantastic.
All right, that's fantastic. Well, let's get into some enchantments now.
Yes, so like I said for the last, we need that mana. So what is the best way to make mana? How about some treasures? So Smothering Tithe, 3 and a white for an enchantment. It says whenever an opponent draws a card, that player may pay 2. If that player doesn't, you create a treasure token. Yeah, you guys all know what this card does. Steven, are you paying the 2?
No.
All right, I'll take a treasure. Up the Beanstalk is a newer enchantment that's going in the deck as well. 1 and a green for an enchantment. Whenever Up the Beanstalk enters the battlefield, and whenever you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, draw a card. So not only does this enchantment go ahead and trigger on itself immediately for that card draw, but it triggers with our giant dinosaurs that we're casting. Also, with the Discover mechanic, since we are technically casting them for free, it still looks at the mana value of the card. And it comes onto the field and draws us a card.
Yeah, I love this edition just because obviously dinosaurs cost a lot. Now, granted, you added some cost reduction, but with that being said, this comes down super early in the game.
Yeah, someone needs to deal with this very quickly, especially seeing this do a lot of work in standard right now. This is only going to do that work in EDH.
All right, well, we had some creatures, we have some artifacts, some enchantments. Let's go ahead and end this editions with some lands, why don't we?
Yes, why don't we? With this first one that's being a reprint in this set, which is the best kindred land of all time. It's Cavern of Souls. It's a land. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Once again, we're going to say dinosaurs. You can tap it to add a colorless, or you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type, and that spell can't be countered. Your favorite dinosaur now can't be countered. It's so good.
Yeah, I think I might just need to add $300 worth of spot removal in my deck.
And to wrap up our land package here, we're just throwing in all the shocks in our colors. That's Sacred Foundry, Stomping Ground, Temple Garden. Then under the battlefield, you can pay 2 life. If you don't, it enters tapped. Sacred Foundry taps for a red or white. Stomping Ground for a red or green. And Temple Garden for a green or white. Just easier lands. Pay the 2 life. Make things go quicker.
Yeah, adding some shocks in there, definitely nice. I do love the fact that the land package was simple, but I mean, it's great, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we have some great additions there. Unfortunately, with additions, we do have to take some cards out because Commander is a 100 card format.
Yeah, it is. So first and foremost, once again, on the screen, you will see all of the cuts we are keeping from the $100 upgrade. Once again, if you haven't seen that, check the description for that video. As you see, Apex Alt Sword no longer on the list because we're putting it back. So yeah, but those are all the ones for the 100. Let's move on to these newer runs. And that is starting with Sorry Batted Dinosaurs. We're going to have to make room for the other ones. First up, Verdant Sun's Avatar. 5 and 2 green for a 5/5 creature dinosaur avatar. It says when it or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. Very cool. Very effective. We're going to have giant dinosaurs. If they come in, we gain that much life. In the long run, I don't really care about gaining the life, and I'm willing to just go and do the damage to my opponents instead. So this one is coming out.
I mean, makes sense. Dino Smash.
Dino Smash, not necessarily about gain life. Thundering Spine Back is 5 and 2 green for a 5/5 creature dinosaur. Other dinosaurs you control get +1/+1. Has another ability you can pay 5 and a green to create a 3/3 dinosaur with trample. That's an expensive rate to make a 3/3 for 6 mana, and this is, in the end, just a little lord that just pumps the team other than itself. For 7 mana, I want to do other things, and the other cards that I threw in are just better.
Or Shane would say, it's a lord.
It's a lord! Regal Behemoth also leaving the deck, 4 and 2 green for a 5/5 creature dinosaur. It's got trample. It says when it enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. And whenever you tap a land for mana while you're the monarch, add 1 additional mana of any color. Here's the thing. Being the monarch is really cool, but for 6 mana, being the monarch and having a creature do nothing if you're not the monarch is not it. So Regal Behemoth is leaving.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I do like this. I love the Monarch mechanic, but yeah, no.
Yeah, we added other ways to do a bunch of card draw in the deck, so the Monarch mechanic is not necessarily needed in this deck. We're not trying to be a Monarch deck, and we don't want to help our opponents if they become the Monarch. The last creature I'm getting rid of is Dinosaur Egg. It is 1 and a green for a 0/3 creature Dinosaur Egg. It's got Evolve, which means whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, if that creature has greater power or toughness than this creature, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. And when this dies, you may discover X, where X is its toughness. I think it's cool. It's a little defender in the long run, and it will only gain power over time, starting at 0 with the evolve mechanic. But I looked at this card where if this dies, I can discover. I don't know how often this is going to die. I mean, board wipes are a thing in Magic, but overall, I think this is probably going to get exiled more than likely, and that will hurt me. So Dinosaur Egg, we're cracking this egg. It's not going to do it in the deck.
Yeah, go over to Atlaplani, Dinosaur Egg. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
All right, well, that looks like it was all the creatures. What other fun stuff did you get rid of?
Yes, these are just other random spells we're cutting out of the deck. So, From the Rubble is a brand new card for this precon. It's 4 and 2 white for an enchantment that says as it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. We would probably say dinosaurs. And it says at the beginning of your end step, return target creature card of the chosen type from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Which means if it dies again, it just gets exiled. This is an expensive card. I really kept it in the 100 because I liked the flexibility of getting some stuff back. But now that we're in the 300, we want to just go ahead and push in for damage. I didn't want to spend 6 mana on this in the long run. I want to do my own stuff.
I think with Pantlaza, I mean, although this does synergize with it so much, Pantlaza only works once each turn, and I would hate for that wasted trigger. I mean, I get it, but I don't know. I see it.
Another card I'm getting rid of is Lifecrafter's Bestiary. It's 3 generic mana for an artifact. So at the beginning of your upkeep, scry 1. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you may pay a green if you do draw a card. I mean, it's cool. But we have other ways to do card draw in the deck. We don't need Lifecrafter's Bestiary. I much rather prefer Up the Beanstalk.
Yeah, I am all about this cut.
And the last cut we're getting rid of as far as spells go, it's Savage Stomp. It's 2 and a green for sorcery. Spell does cost 2 less if it targets a dinosaur I control. I can put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, then that creature fights target creature you don't control. Just a simple sorcery fight spell. It's just one of those where I just had to cut one more card. Savage Stomp, you're coming out of the deck.
Savagely taken out of the deck, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Well, moving on to some other things we are taking out of the deck. Let's move on to the lands.
Yeah, so here we go. Final lands we're taking out. Myriad Landscape, everyone knows it. Enters the battlefield tapped. Taps for colorless. You could pay 2, tap it, sack it. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards that share a land type. then put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Mirror Landscape, we all know it costs 3 of your mana sources to go and get 1 tapped land. That isn't doing it for me. Terramorphic Expanse is also getting the axe. You can tap it, sack it, search the library for a basic land, put on the battlefield tapped, and shuffle. No, thank you. We don't need another one of these. We have Fabled Passage in the deck to go ahead and do that. And the last 2 lands, Canopy Vista and Cinderglader, coming out. They are both the same. They enter the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. We have some basic lands, but we're not guaranteed basic lands. So I'm just cutting these out because they're more likely to come in tapped than not tapped a lot of the times. So I like these over the other ones that are kind of like the show lands because we actually have our shock lands that are actually the land types as well. So they're just a strictly upgrade here. So we're upgrading the lands, we're taking out these slower ones.
Makes perfect sense. Although Myriad Landscape is probably my favorite land in Magic. I know that's a hot take for some people, but I'll take it, Hunter. I'll take it.
That is quite the hot take, friend.
I love it, man. All right, Hunter. Well, I love the additions. I love the removal. You were given $300 for this upgrade. How are we looking?
So at the time of recording, this is still going to be pre-order prices. So I did add a bunch of brand new cards. I added some awesome stuff, but this, like I said, before the set releases. So the total of this deck is $299.51 if you want all these cards.
All right. I'll put an extra 49 cents into my $300 upgrade.
You're welcome. I'll give you that little lenience there.
All right. Now comes my favorite part of the video here, Hunter. So now that you've done the 300, you got to read the comments on the $100 video. You got to kind of play a little bit with the $100 upgrade. What are your final thoughts with this Precon altogether?
So I think the Discover mechanic is awesome. I've been saying this since spoiler season. However, I understand that do this only once each turn is pretty cool. I personally would still stick with Gishath. Dinosaurs are fantastic. Build this deck. Pantlaza is awesome. Gishath is still my favorite dinosaur of them all. That just ability just to swing it is awesome. But yeah, Pantlaza is a lot of fun. I cannot wait to play our $300 battle against each other and all that jazz. Dinosaurs, man, they are really good.
All right, guys, don't forget to like and comment on this video. Make sure you are subscribed. And also, while you're down there in the comments, go ahead and let us know what you thought about Hunter's $300 upgrade. What would you have added instead? What would you have removed? We're always reading the comments. We love replying as well. Definitely want to hear your takes on these cards. Also, down below, you're going to see a link to the Mox Field with this deck list. Make sure you check it out. It's a fun one. I enjoy it. Also, in the description, you will find links to our Patreon. So if you do like the content on YouTube, we do put some fun stuff on our Patreon that we do not add to the YouTube. So definitely check it out. See what you think. Don't forget to follow us on all of our socials. It's going to be @GuysThatMagic for our X, our Instagram, and our TikTok. And until the next video, have a great day.
Peace.